Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which the abuser attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in the victim's mind. The abuser may deny things that have happened, contradict the victim's memories, or trivialize the victim's feelings in order to make the victim question their own reality. Gaslighting can be devastating for the victim, as it can erode their self-confidence, make them feel isolated and alone, and even lead to mental health problems such as anxiety and depression. One of the most common ways that gaslighters manipulate their victims is through the use of language. Gaslighters often use specific phrases and words to undermine their victim's sense of reality and make them feel like they are crazy. Some examples of gaslighting phrases: "You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. I never said that. You're crazy. You're making me angry. You're the problem, not me. I'm just kidding. You're taking things out of context. You have a bad memory. You're always forgetting things. You're too emotional. You're being dramatic. I'm doing this for your own good." Gaslighters may also use more subtle language to manipulate their victims. For example, they may constantly criticize their victim, make them feel guilty, or isolate them from their friends and family. If you are in a relationship with someone who is using gaslighting phrases, it is important to remember that you are not alone. Gaslighting is a form of abuse, and it is important to get help. Some tips for dealing with gaslighting phrases. 1. Trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Don't let the gaslighter convince you that you are imagining things or that you are being too sensitive. 2. Talk to someone you trust. It is important to have a support system in place when you are dealing with gaslighting. This could include a friend, family member, therapist, or support group for victims of narcissistic abuse. 3. Document the abuse. It is helpful to document the gaslighter's abusive behavior. This could involve keeping a journal, recording conversations, or taking screenshots of text messages. Documentation can be helpful if you decide to leave the relationship and need to file for divorce or custody. 4. Leave the relationship. If you are able to leave the relationship, do so. Gaslighting is a form of abuse and it is important to protect yourself. If you are struggling to cope with gaslighting, please know that there are resources available to help you. You can talk to a therapist, join a support group for victims of narcissistic abuse, or call a domestic violence hotline. Some additional tips for dealing with gaslighting phrases. Don't engage. When the gaslighter is using gaslighting phrases, it is best not to engage with them. Trying to argue with a gaslighter will only make things worse. Instead, try to disengage from the conversation and walk away. Challenge the gaslighter. If you feel safe doing so, you can challenge the gaslighter's statements. For example, if the gaslighter says, "You're imagining things," you can say, "I am not imagining things. I remember clearly what happened." Set boundaries. It is important to set boundaries with a gaslighter. This means letting them know what behavior you will and will not tolerate. It is also important to enforce these boundaries. If the gaslighter crosses a boundary, remind them of the boundary and walk away if necessary. Remember, gaslighting is a serious issue, but there is help available. If you are experiencing gaslighting, please reach out for support.